Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. Tonight, of course, was Monday Night Raw from December 9th, 2013 in Seattle, Washington, and tonight was the Slammies. The show, of course, starts with an intro specifically for the Slammies. Whatever the fuck. Michael Cole and JBL are the only ones on commentary, and Cole says that that is because Jerry Lawler is hosting tonight with Booker T. So, yeah. Quickly, we get the first match of the night. Daniel Bryan comes out, followed by Fandango. And Bryan and Fandango actually put on a good match. Not really surprising, though. The highlights... Bryan went up top and went for the big front missile dropkick. Johnny caught him into a sit-out powerbomb. Looked great. They went to a commercial break. And what ended up happening was... Johnny grabbed Bryan and hit the Falcon's Arrow on it, dropped him down, and then went up to the top rope for his leg drop. But Bryan rolls out of the way, so Johnny misses, and then Bryan quickly goes up to the top rope, hits his big diving Benoit headbutt, and then he hits Johnny with the super running knee of death, and he gets the win. So Bryan wins. It was a good match. The lights black out, of course. And we see Bray Wyatt up on the Titantron, and he cuts another promo asking Bryan to join them, all this other shit. They do the cutaway gag and the blackout, and when the lights finally come back on, Bryan's still in the ring, and the crowd is chanting no, and Bryan's saying no, and he's waving his arms no. End of that segment. The King and Booker T come out for the first award, and they introduce the New Age Outlaws, who are going to present the first award, which is the LOL Moment of the Year. And by the way, the Outlaws were wearing these colored suits. One was orange and one was baby blue. It looked like the suits from Dumb and Dumber, if you remember that. But anyways, they introduced the nominees for the award, including Vicky getting fired from, it was a couple of months ago. She got fired as the GM of Raw, and that moment wasn't really so funny as it was just really, really sad and annoying. And then the next nominee was Titus puking after the eating contest the other week. And then, one that I'd never even seen, Santino's Cobra being charmed by some flute playing by, I think one of them was Jinder Mahal, of course. And then it got charmed again by the Great Khali doing it on the other side of the ring. I do not know when the hell this happened. Never saw it. It must have been from like Superstars or Main Event or some bullshit. I really don't know. But anyways, the final nominee, and the only one that was actually funny, was The Rock and his little concert that he had. And it was basically just the song that he sang where he was just dissing Vicky Guerrero. That one was actually funny. And then after they show the nominees, they say, go on the stupid WWE app and vote. But before we're going to present the winner, this becomes a pattern for the evening, by the way. Before we present the winner, Santino comes out. And then they cut to a commercial. And when they come back, Damien Sandow is in the ring. We cut back up to the stage where the Outlaws finally present the winner, which is The Rock and his concert, of course. But since The Rock isn't there tonight, because he's too busy, you know, doing movie premieres for, you know, whatever the fuck, I don't know. Since he's not here, Vicky Guerrero comes out and accepts the award on his behalf, basically. Whatever. Many eyes started to roll, as you might imagine. Anyways, we cut back to the ring. Santino versus Sandow. We get a decent match at least out of them. Biggie Langston is on commentary, of course. What ends up happening is Santino goes to do the Cobra. He pulls out the stupid sleeve and he goes to hit it, but as he goes to hit it, Sandow drops down and trips Santino with a big rounding sweep kind of move. Santino falls flat on his face. Damien picks him up, cinches him up, hits the "You're welcome," and gets the win. So Sandow wins. Big E jumps off a commentary, jumps into the ring, holds up his Intercontinental title belt in Damien's face, and basically punks out Sandow by kind of jumping at him, and Sandow flinches, and then Sandow bails, and Big E's music starts to play. That's the end of that segment, whatever. Up next are The Shield to present the Double Cross of the Year award. And the nominees are Mark Henry when he teased his retirement in order to give Cena the World's Strongest Slam. Shawn Michaels when he super kicked Bryan in the Hell in a Cell match. Paul Heyman when he slammed Punk with the ladder at the Money in the Bank match. And Triple H pedigreeing Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam to allow Randy to cash in on him. And as I said, the trend, Kofi comes out, and then they cut to a commercial. And when they come back, The Miz is in the ring already. Back up to the stage, The Shield announces that the winner is Shawn Michaels. And Shawn comes out, and he accepts the award, and he talks about, despite double-crossing several people in his past, it takes until, I think he said, 4 years after his retirement to actually get this award. Whatever. And in all honesty, the weird thing about it is, I really think Heyman's double cross should have been the winner, because had Heyman not double-crossed Punk, Punk probably would have won the Money in the Bank over Orton. And that way, Orton's cash in on Bryan wouldn't have been possible, thus making Triple H's double cross moot, and thus also making HBK's double cross moot. Had Punk won the Money in the Bank, neither of those two would have happened. So, yeah, but when Michaels came out to accept the award, he's all smiling and shit, and I'm like, you basically just got handed the award for being the biggest Judas, right? That's not something to be proud of. That award is really a slap in the face. But he deserves it for fucking over Bryan. Anyways, we cut back to the ring. Kofi and Miz have their match. And it turns out to be decent. The highlights... we almost got a repeat of when Kofi basically gave The Miz a concussion when he blasted him in the face with the Trouble in Paradise after Miz coming back off the ropes. The same thing basically happened, only Miz saw it coming, hung onto the ropes, and bailed out of the ring before Kofi's foot connected with his face. But after that, Miz, like I said, rolled out of the ring, and he basically tried to bail on the match. Kofi runs out and grabs him and brings him back. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but as they were both rolling back in the ring, I think, Miz rolled Kofi up for the easy win. So Miz wins. Miz is up on the turnbuckle celebrating, I won. He gets down, turns around, and still gets the Trouble in Paradise for his troubles after the match. So Kofi's still a sore loser, I guess. Up next, Eve Torres comes back, for one night only, I hope, to present the award for Diva of the Year. And she announces the nominees, or she doesn't announce, but they show video packages of the nominees. The Bella Twins, for some reason nominated as one entrant, or one nominee. The Funkadactyls, again nominated as one entrant, for some idiotic reason. Caitlyn, Natalya, Eva Marie, even though she hasn't done shit. And then AJ. So, yeah. You nominate one girl who hasn't done a fucking thing in the company, and then you nominate AJ, who has really been the best diva of the last year. Caitlyn and Natalya were okay, but then you nominate the Bellas and the Funkadactyls for a solo award. It's not like Diva Tag Team of the Year. No. Stupid. Anyways. After the nominations, of course, Rey Mysterio comes out. And then they cut to a commercial break. And when they come back, they say that later on tonight we're going to do an Ascension ceremony of both the titles, the WWE and World Heavyweight titles. And we cut back to the ring where we can see that Cody and Goldust and the Big Show are all in the ring, and so are Ryback, Curtis Axel, and the Real Americans. So we're fixing to have us a big 8-man tag match. But we cut back to the stage where Eve announces the winner of the Divas, or the Diva of the Year award. That was a Freudian slip. The Bellas win. Why? I don't know. They haven't done shit since returning a few months ago. One of them's been injured half at a time, and the other one hasn't hardly won that many matches, hasn't won any titles. But the Bellas win, they come out, and they get booed because they didn't fucking deserve to win this award, even though it's a stupid award, and the polls are probably rigged anyways. Who gives a shit? Back to the ring for the match. Rey and the Big Show and the Rhodes versus Ryback, Axel, and the Real Americans. The match was boring. There's a commercial break, and the finish of the match is Big Show jumps in and spears Ryback out of the ring, and then on the outside of the ring, Show spears both of the Real Americans at the same time on the floor. Back in the ring, Rey hits the 619 and the dime drop, or dropping a dime, or whatever the fuck, on Curtis Axel, since those two were the legal men, and he gets the win. So Rey really only came in to get the win. He hardly did anything during this match. Back up to the stage, King and Booker T introduce HBK to present the Superstar of the Year award. Shawn comes out and segues into the stupid nominees video, which includes Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, The Big Show for some reason, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and John Cena. And again, before we can get the winner announced, Sin Cara comes out, and it's still Hunico. We cut to a commercial break. When we come back, Shawn Michaels announces that the winner of Superstar of the Year is Daniel Bryan. Bryan comes out and he goes to take the award from Shawn, but Shawn doesn't want to let go of it. He finally does, though. Bryan gives his acceptance speech, whatever the fuck. And that goes away then. Alberto Del Rio's music hits, and he comes out to no reaction. And while he's coming out, because his entrance is so fucking dull and boring, we get a recap of last week when Sin Cara beat Del Rio. And it also shows a picture-in-a-picture interview from earlier today. Del Rio, speaking Spanish, couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying. Whatever the fuck. The match starts, and it was still a good match. We still get the stupid Sin Cara lights. There's a commercial break. Sin Cara hits a tornado DDT. Right. Sin Cara had done a rolling Death Valley driver, which is what Hunico always used to use to set up the Swanton Bomb. He did that and he went up for it, but Del Rio countered it, kicked him down off the top rope or something, or no. He kicked him while he was on the top rope, and then Del Rio went to go for something, but Sin Cara blocked, countered, whatever, and did a sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope, slamming Del Rio down hard. And then he goes back up to the top rope, Sin Cara does, and he hits the Swanton anyways, and Sin Cara wins again. So Del Rio has been, like, massively de-pushed. Thank God, he's so fucking boring. Back up to the stage, the primetime players are there to present for Fan Participation Award. They do their stupid millions of dollars dance because, you know, they weren't really nominated for the award, and who cares because they're not really that good. But the nominees are Fandango for the fandangoing dance thing that the crowd didn't really do for all that long, by the way. Daniel Bryan for the Yes chant, which has been done for like an entire year. John Cena nominated for the dueling Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks chants. Which really I don't think should even count because Cena doesn't really do anything to initiate those chants. Bryan actually has to go, yes, yes, and he gets the crowds to do it. And whatever the fuck. And the other nominee is R-Truth for the, What's Up? They cut to a commercial. When they come back, they say that the TLC kickoff for the pay-per-view, which is this Sunday, by the way, is going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Fandango. And they also happened to mention who was going to be on the panel, but I didn't quite catch it. Oh well. Primetime players announce that the winner of the Fan Participation Award is Daniel Bryan. And he comes out and accepts, and he gives another speech, and he has to end it with, of course, yes, yes, and the fans chanting, of course. After that, they hype up once again this Ascension ceremony for later on. And then the Tons of Funk come out with the Funkadactyls, yada yada. And we cut to another commercial. And when we get back, Xavier Woods is in the ring, and R-Truth is there as well. And we get Brodus by himself versus Xavier. Not really by himself, I guess, though, because everybody was still around the ring, but whatever. This match was a fucking squash. It literally lasted about 30 seconds. Brodus nailed Xavier with something, knocked him on his ass, and then hit the ropes and hit a big splash. And that was the match. Brodus wins. After the match, Brodus continues to attack Xavier by hitting another splash on him. And then all of a sudden, Tensai and Truth get into the ring. Tensai tries to hold Brodus back, and Truth is checking on Woods. And the Funkadactyls are scared on the outside of the ring. Whatever, so I'm guessing this is basically like the official heel turn for Brodus. Who gives a fuck? He's still a worthless turd. Anyways, back on the stage, The Miz comes out to present the Insult of the Year award. And the nominees include AJ's Pipe Bomb promo, where she dissed basically the entire Divas roster. Zeb Coulter's stupid bullshit. Really not worth it here. Heyman dissing Punk. There was several promos that were part of it, but it was all just part of that. And then Stephanie dissing the Big Show. It was the one thing just before she fired him. So, yeah. After that, Punk comes out, and they cut to a commercial break. And when they come back, the Shield is coming out, all three of them. Back up on the stage, Miz announces that Stephanie wins the Insult of the Year title, or award. She comes out and gets no reaction from the crowd. She, acceptance speech, whatever the fuck, we move on. The match, Punk versus Dean Ambrose, of course turns out to be good. At the beginning of the match, the commentators make mention of the fact that after that monstrous spear from last week where Reigns ran through Punk on the floor, after that, Punk has bruised ribs. So he's kind of semi-injured. Ambrose proceeds to spend most of the match working on said bruised ribs. Either way, there's that. Punk does his suicide dive. There's a commercial break. Punk hits the Macho Elbow. It goes for the GTS, but it gets countered. And then the finish of the match basically was Ambrose throws Punk out on the ring over on the side where Rollins and Reigns have been sitting the whole match. And the referee is talking with Ambrose, and the camera keeps cutting over to Punk and Rollins and Reigns ain't doing shit. They're just standing there. They're not attacking Punk, they're not doing anything. And Ambrose finally gets done with his discussion with the referee. He jumps out of the ring and he goes over to Rollins. He's like, why the fuck didn't you do anything? And he's like bitching at Rollins and Reigns. And he's like, you know what? You guys get out of here. I can fucking handle this. And so Rollins and Reigns go to leave out up through the ramp. Ambrose and Punk roll back into the ring. Let's see. I think Punk picked up Ambrose for the GTS, but Ambrose got out of it, went for the headlock driver, but Punk shoved him into the ropes, and then caught him up into the GTS again and nails it, and Punk gets the win. After the match, Rollins and Reigns come back. They hadn't really fully left. They were just barely up the ramp when the match ended. They come back. Rollins goes to get in the ring, but Punk chases him off, and Punk turns around to get ran through again by Reigns with another spear. Yeah. Anyways, after that, we get a video package of former champions for both the WWE title and World Heavyweight title. Just them talking about what it meant and all this other stuff, whatever. Back on the stage, King and Booker T introduce Mick Foley to present the Extreme Moment of the Year award. And the nominees are The Shield beating the fuck out of The Undertaker, in which Taker still hasn't come back from. Ryback putting Cena through the LED board. I believe that was from... I don't remember. It was their last man standing match. Who gives a fuck? And then there was Punk beating the shit out of Heyman on top of the Hell in a Cell from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And the last nominee, the Wyatts, for their beating of Kane after the Inferno match. Which wasn't even really all that great, honestly. After the nominees are shown, the Usos come out to hardly any reaction. And then there's a commercial break. And when we come back from the commercial, the Wyatts are already in the ring. We cut back up to the stage with Foley, and he announces that Punk wins the Extreme Moment of the Year. He comes out hesitant. He's still in his wrestling gear. He's holding his ribs because he's still hurt. He says he feels weird accepting an award while not wearing pants. Whatever the fuck. He accepts, pisses off. We get the match. I didn't even write down what this match was. Or how good it was, at least. It wasn't really that good, honestly. Yeah, but the Usos versus Harper and Rowan, the only highlights. The Usos, one of them went up to the top rope, and the other one hit the ropes and did a big dive over the ropes. He dives over the ropes, the guy from off the top dives off of the ring, and they crisscrossed in midair, and both of them landed on top of Harper and Rowan. So, big double splash. After that, they cut to a commercial. The finish of the match came. One of the Usos was able to hit the big Superfly splash, but I think it was Rowan came up to break up the pin, and Rowan got knocked out of the ring. One of the Usos got thrown from the apron into the table, the announce table. He splattered all over the table. And then the Uso that knocked Rowan off the ring, off the apron, turns around and gets the shit clotheslined out of him by Harper. And that, of course, is his finisher, so Harper gets the win. Harper and Rowan win, and the crowd is dead. They could not give a shit. Anyways, they do the stupid cutaway gag. And finally the lights come on, because they couldn't just cut to commercial, which would have been smart. But the lights finally come back on, the Wyatts are gone, but we cut back up to the stage where the King and Booker T announce that Bret Hart is going to present the Match of the Year award. Bret comes out and he intros the nominees. The nominees are The Undertaker versus CM Punk at WrestleMania, Cody and Goldust versus The Shield for the tag team titles, or not for the tag team titles, the match where Cody and Goldust won their jobs back. Which, that one makes no sense to me, because that match wasn't all that great. The other nominees, Triple H versus Brock in a cage match. I don't remember what pay-per-view that was from either. And then, of course, The Rock versus Cena from WrestleMania. Anyways, Natalya comes out, and they cut to another commercial. And then, when they come back, Tamina is already in the ring with AJ. And we cut back up to the stage with Bret, who announces that Cena and The Rock won for the Match of the Year. Cena comes out and accepts, and I was expecting him to challenge The Rock to another match. But he doesn't. He just accepts and says thank you and leaves and whatever the fuck. And then we cut back to the ring where we get Natalya versus Tamina. Obviously the match sucked. Wasn't even all that long, and the finish is AJ jumps on the apron to distract Natalya, but Natalya kind of gets distracted. Tamina picks Natalya up like she's going to go for a body slam, but as she picks her up, Natalya's feet hit AJ in the face. She falls off of the apron, and Tamina's like, oh no, what did I do? Natalya trips Tamina, locks her in the sharpshooter, and Tamina taps out like a bitch. So Natalya wins by submission, and that was the last match of the night. So once again, Shit Divas match is your main event, basically. But now it's time for the Ascension ceremony. Triple H and Stephanie come out, and then they cut to a commercial. And when they come out, or when they come back, several members of the roster are in the ring, and all of them are former holders of either the WWE or World Heavyweight title, or both. Christian was out there, Daniel Bryan, Mark Henry, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Booker T, Rey Mysterio. A lot of people were out there, basically. But yeah, Stephanie starts off talking, whatever the fuck, and there's a very loud chant for Daniel Bryan. And then a very loud chant for just the yes, yes. And of course, this is the crowd basically trolling, telling them that, you know, Bryan should really be a part of this feud. And Triple H is talking, and he mentions that whoever wins this is going to be the Champion of Champions. Now, if you don't know, the Champion of Champions was a title that was only in one of the WWE video games. I think it was like WWE 12 or whatever the fuck. I don't know. The belt was ugly, and I really hope they're not actually going to use that belt because it sucked. And I really hope they don't use that title either. But anyways, Triple H introduces Randy, and Randy comes out to no reaction. And then Stephanie introduces Cena, and Cena comes out to hardly any reaction. And then Triple H and Stephanie ask both Randy and Cena to hang their belts on this nice little hook thing that they have. And they do. They put the belts on the hook. And then Randy starts chanting, and there's a loud, boring chant. And then a very loud, yes, yes chant. And Randy just starts insulting the former champion, saying, you know, Foley, I beat the hell out of you. I took years off of your career. Shawn, I've embarrassed you several times. And then he mentions Brett, saying that had he been wrestling 16 years ago, there would have never been a Montreal Screwjob because he would have just demolished Brett. Yeah, right. Anyways, Cena finally starts to talk, and he doesn't say much before he brings Daniel Bryan forward. And there's another loud, yes, yes, yes chant. And Cena has Bryan introduce himself. He says, my name is Daniel Bryan, and then he says, he asks Bryan, were any of your parents, or were either of your parents, former WWE superstars, Hall of Famers? Bryan says, no. And so Cena's like, yeah, so basically, since you've come here, you had to work your ass off to get everything you've had. And Bryan goes, yes! And of course, yes, yes, another loud chant. And Cena just starts to diss Randy hard, saying that he's been coddled, he's been protected his entire career, citing such reasons as being a nightmare both in the ring and both backstage, of course referencing a lot of Randy's backstage antics in his career. Cena mentions some of the other champions as well, saying that nobody wanted to give Dolph Ziggler a chance, but Cena just said, come on, bring him on, because of their little feud that they had. And also mentioned Bryan, saying that nobody wanted to give him a chance, but he gave him a chance, and Bryan won. Yada yada. So Cena just leeching off of Bryan's popularity, whatever. But Cena finally ends by saying, I have one last statement to make. He puts his hand out, and he says, I'm going to be at my very best at TLC, and I hope you are too, because if not, it's just going to be another Randy Orton excuse. Because that's basically what Cena was saying, is that Randy's made all kinds of excuses every time he's failed at something, and all this other shit. Anyways, Randy actually does shake Cena's hand, but then cheap shots him. Fight breaks out, it's quickly broken up by all the people in the ring. Each guy's backed into a corner, and Randy makes the mistake of punching CM Punk in the face, and Punk's like, oh shit, motherfucker. Punk clobbers Randy. And then Triple H runs over and hits Punk. And Punk retaliates. He hits Triple H back. And then HBK comes out of nowhere and hits the Sweet Chin Music on Punk. Bryan comes screaming across the ring and hits the big super knee on HBK. Randy comes over to try to grab Bryan for the RKO. Bryan pushes him off, and Randy plows through Stephanie, knocks her down, and Triple H sees this and gets all pissed off. He grabs Orton, kicks him, and fucking pedigrees him. So Triple H pedigrees Orton for being pushed into Stephanie by Daniel Bryan. Pretty much after that, all of the other people got the hell out of the ring, and we're just left with Triple H, Stephanie, Kane, and Cena standing together, staring down at Orton, who's still on the mat, just barely getting up after the pedigree. And that's the end of the show. So yeah, don't know if that was really foreshadowing to perhaps Stephanie, Triple H, Kane helping Cena to win at the pay-per-view. I really don't know. I really don't give a fuck, because it doesn't matter who wins. We're getting a crappy champion no matter what. I really don't give a single fuck about this feud, about this champion of champions. But as always, let's just go over the matches once again. The first match, Daniel Bryan versus Fandango, was good. Santino versus Damian Sandow was decent. Kofi versus The Miz was decent. Rey Mysterio, The Big Show, Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus Ryback, Curtis Axel, and the Real Americans was boring. Sin Cara versus Del Rio was good, and it's still funny to see Sin Cara beat Del Rio. Brodus versus Xavier was just a squash, and it really sucks to see them quickly squashing Xavier, even though he's far better than Brodus will ever be. Punk versus Ambrose was good. The Usos versus Harper and Rowan wasn't really that great. And then Natalya versus Tamina was shit. Who gives a fuck? Once again, that was your Monday Night Raw from December 9th, 2013, Seattle, Washington, the Slammy Awards. There were a bunch of other Slammy Awards, apparently, that they didn't bother to do on the show. They said that The Shield won a couple, including Breakout Star of the Year, or basically the Rookie of the Year. There was one that they got for, I don't know, something or other, devastating move or whatever, for Roman Reigns' spear. I don't know. But yeah. I don't know. But this episode of Raw, the whole ending sequence with everybody fighting and everything was interesting, but it's like, what's really the point of it when a lot of these people aren't even involved in this feud or storyline, you know? But whatever. One last thing. I'm not sure if it's really because of what I said a couple of episodes back, but I want to thank the people for not reacting to a lot of these people. You know, Randy and Cena coming out and getting hardly any reaction or no reaction at all. Triple H and Stephanie not getting hardly any reaction. It's good that people are finally telling the WWE that we don't give a fuck about these people, and we don't want to see them anymore. So again, I'm not really sure if that's because of what I said. I don't know if I can really take credit for it, but I'd still like to thank the people for doing that. Seriously, continue to not react. to these boring motherfuckers who don't deserve your cheers or boos. Don't react to them. Don't give them anything. We need to make sure the WWE hears our voice and starts to change. Bring in new stars. Bring in new storylines, new ideas. Jesus. Anyways, once again, that was Raw, the Slammy Awards Raw from December 9th, 2013 in Seattle, Washington. Thank you for joining us once again here on the Wrestling Rant. The next episode will probably be Wednesday or Thursday for the SmackDown spoilers. And so we will see you next time for that. Please join us then. And thank you once again for tuning in. Good night.